Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're just going to begin by just coming down to the floor in a nice comfortable seated position. We're just going to sit up nice and tall, and we're just going to allow every muscle in the body to soften and yield. So we'll start by getting ourselves into proper posture. So crossing the legs, depending on tightness of your hips, you're try to get your knees down to the floor, otherwise they might sit up a little bit. Don't worry about that. Feel free to sit on a block or a mat here just to help bring yourself out of the lower back, and it'll allow you to just pivot the knees a little bit further down. Then you're going to sit up nice and tall, bring the shoulders down and away from the ears. Going to tuck that chin slightly. We're going to imagine there's a mannequin string pulling us from the crown of the head. With the mind's eye, think about pulling the body up without rotating the neck. We're just going to stay here. We're going to just slow everything down. Beginning with the breath. Take a nice big inhale, followed by a nice big exhale. And we're just going to continue that, breathing in and breathing out. So on each inhale, see if you can go a little bit longer, and then on each exhale, try and exhale through the nose, trying to go for the same duration as the inhale, and just let yourself just settle in nice and comfortable. Okay, next we're going to go into a little bit of a breathing exercise. So we're going to inhale on my count and exhale, starting on the count of 4, and then over time we'll gradually build that up to maybe about 8. So to begin with, take a nice big inhale and exhale, and then begin to inhale now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time we're going up to 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going up to 6 this time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go up 7 this time. Try and really slow down the breath. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Going up to 8 this time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very nice. So from here, just continue to breathe nice and deeply. Try and think about that slow, full breath in, and then that slow exhale, really vacuuming out the torso. Okay, from here we're going to take our left arm, going to bring it overhead, and we're going to create a slight pull on the right side of the head. Just create a nice long stretch across the neck. If it feels comfortable, maybe taking the right hand to the floor. Just create a nice long stretch from the tips of your fingers to the top of your neck. Breathing in nice and deeply and exhaling. Keeping the posture okay. So from here, the only thing that should be tilting is the head. We shouldn't be slumping over to the side. We're just causing our neck to create a nice stretch up the side. Everything else should still be sitting up nice and straight. And then change to the other side. Nice big inhale and exhale. Just embrace the stretch. Don't be pushing down too hard, just wherever is comfortable. For this posture, keep making sure the shoulders are still down away from the ears. Okay, and then release. And from here we're going to take our left arm to the ground, taking the forearm down, keeping ourselves nice in a line, not shrugging forward. And then if it's available to you, once you're up nice and straight, bring your right arm to point to the ceiling. Really push into that left elbow, and that will stop you from sinking into the posture, and that will cause you to embrace every part of the body. And we'll just hang out here, just feeling a nice long stretch across the side body. And then on an inhale, come back up. And then exhale, come straight over to the other side. Bring the left arm to the air this time, pointing towards the ceiling. Continue to breathe nice and deeply. And then on your next inhale, come back up. And then from here, we're just going to come up into tabletop pose. Bringing the shoulders, stacking them on top of the elbows and the wrists, and then stacking our hips on top of our knees. So from here, we're going to go into cat pose. So on an inhale, we're going to pull the arch of our spine down, pulling the chest up and through to look ahead. Nice big inhale. And then on an exhale, we'll reverse the motion, so pushing out through the arch in the back, bringing the head down, maybe looking between our legs if that's available to you. Create a nice big arch in the back. Then inhale, bring ourselves back up. Nice and slowly, nice and controlled. And then exhale back down. Really vacuuming out the lower abdomen. Then once you've got no more breath left to give, begin to inhale and rise back up again. So feel free to either go in tune with your own breath, timing it in time with your own inhales and exhales, or feel free to follow myself if you feel more comfortable, exhaling back out, creating a vacuum, and then very slowly rising back up again. And then exhale back down. Inhaling, come up. See if you can make a little bit more of an arch this time. Really stick the hips up in the air. And then exhale back down. Really rounding out the back. And then on your next inhale, come back up into tabletop pose. Then from here, we're going to take our first downward dog of the day. So curling the toes under, we're going to rise up, pushing the bum back, our hips up. Intention is try and get as high to the ceiling as we can, as this is the first one of the day, feel free to keep the knees bent here. We're not trying to push or stress the body. We're just trying to maintain the mobility, maybe release some of the stiffness. So feel free to pedal out the heels if you need to. It's creating nice long length in the body. The focus is to keep the back straight first. Very slowly the legs will begin to follow. So just focus on that straight back. If you need to bend the knees, feel free to. And then we'll just pedal it out if you would like. Otherwise, just hold it nice and steady. Breathing nice and deeply. Okay, on an inhale, we're going to come into plank, high plank. And then drop the knees. On an exhale, uncurl the toes. We're going to come back into child's pose. Create a nice long length across the body, keeping the chin tucked. See if you can get the glutes to touch the heels of your feet. And on your next inhale, rise back up into tabletop, curl the toes under, come up into a high plank, and then we're going to rise back up into downward dog. Just creating a nice long length. Now see if you can straighten up maybe a little bit more than you did previously. And from here we're going to lift the right leg up into three-legged dog. And then on an exhale, bring through and lower into a low lunge, bringing the left knee down to the ground. Maybe uncurling the toes if that's more comfortable. Really pressing in to the top of the left foot and the bottom of the right foot. We're just going to try and peel the hips forward. So you get a nice long stretch across that left hip flexor. See if you can come up just to upright, leaning forward, raising the arms above our head. So very similar to Warrior One, just a variation with a low lunge. Creating a little bit stability work, maybe on the right leg. Just, you might feel it wavering just a little bit. And then on the exhale, lower back down. Uncurl left toes. And what we're going to do is we're going to kick that right leg straight back into three-legged dog. And then one more time, bringing it through, back into low lunge, uncurling the left toes, rising straight back up into Warrior One, or variation of Warrior One. Just continue to breathe nice and deeply. Keep everything nice and controlled, keeping the torso nice and tall. And then exhale, come down. Curl the left toes. And then scoop the right leg and bring it straight up into three-legged dog. And then lower it down into downward dog. Maybe take a moment here, maybe pedal it out again. If you've got super tight hips, you might feel the hips cramping at the side a little bit. Don't worry about that, just take a moment just to ease them off if you need to. And then this time we're going to take the left leg, we're going to raise it up in three-legged dog, and then pull it through, bringing it in line with our hands, lowering that left knee, uncurling the toes, This time, see if you can get the hips forward, create a nice long stretch across the right hip flexor. Rising up. That little extra bit of weight that comes out of the hands. It's now pressing down into the hips a little bit further, intensifying that stretch a little bit more. Inhaling, bring the arms above head into Warrior One variation. So just continue to breathe nice and deeply. Maybe find a focal point in front of you. Just soften the eyes. Okay, lowering the hands down. We're going to curl the right toes. We're going to lift that left leg up into three-legged dog. And then bringing it back through, coming down, uncurling the right toes again, and then rising up straight into Warrior One. See if you can sink a little bit deeper this time, a little bit further forward. Then bring the hands down, curl the right toes one more time, and bring the left leg into three-legged dog, and then lower to the ground, back into downward dog. Continue to breathe nice and deeply here. Then lower down into tabletop, uncurl the toes, and sit back into child's pose. Keep ourselves nice and long. Just take a moment here. Try and soften all the muscles. Okay, from here, we're going to rise up onto our shins. So we're standing on our shins, and then all we're going to do, so we're going to work our way into camel pose. So to begin with, we're just going to begin to lean back and maybe touch one of our heels. And on an inhale, rise up. On an exhale, maybe lean over the other side. See if you can touch the opposite heel with the opposite hand. Rise back up. And we're just going to do this a few times, just getting used to leaning back. Ideally, we want to keep our hips stuck where they are. And it's just the upper part of the body arching over so that you've got room to touch those heels. We're just going to go back and forward a few times. Time with the breath. So inhaling, coming up. And then exhaling, moving back, see if you can take hold of a heel. Inhaling up. Exhaling the other side. Inhaling up. Exhaling the other side. See how slow you can make this with each inhale. See if you can slow it down a little bit further. And then continue that length as you exhale. So you should hopefully feel your abs activating here, keeping everything nice and tight, everything upright, everything structurally sound. And then on your next inhale, come up onto your shins again, just standing nice and tall. And then on your exhale, we're going to come down with both hands this time, taking a hold of each heel and keeping the hips pushing forward. If it's available to you, maybe letting the head loosen off, looking back to the wall behind you. We're just going to continue to push the hips forward and just begin to breathe nice and deeply. Okay, and then from here, just taking our time to rise back up. We'll just lower straight back down to child's pose, just counterbalancing the pose. Stay nice and long. Just breathing nice and deeply. Okay, and then from here, we'll just rise back up, come into a nice seated position. Crossing the legs over. We'll just very quickly just have a look at half lotus here. So if your knees are not very good, feel free to just stay in seated position. Just sit up nice and tall. Just focus from there. For everyone else, we're going to take our right leg out, and then with our left leg, very carefully, we're going to first of all bring the knee in, so that's already clenched in place, and then just very softly taking the underside of our foot, we're just going to drop the knee down and bring the foot up towards our right hip flexor. So we don't want to be forcing this here, we want to be nice and gentle with our knees. There's lots of little tendons and we don't want to be messing with any of them. So however far you can go, maybe you can just get it down to your knee. That's perfectly fine, we'll remain here. If you've got a little bit more space, see if you can maybe bring it up to the hip flexor and then dropping that knee to the ground. Keeping the toes flexed so the foot's engaged, you're not crushing anything. And we'll just hold it here. So we're just introducing a little bit of additional mobility, just stretching out the around the knee area. So it might not feel like much is happening, but you are very slowly, with the use of gravity, just re-implementing the movement around the leg. Keep the right toes pointed towards the ceiling so you're still keeping that right leg engaged. Okay, very slowly just release the leg, lifting it off, bringing it up, keeping the knee where it is, and then releasing down. Stretching the leg out, keeping the left toes pointed to the ceiling. We'll bring the right leg in this time, really bending in that knee first, and then bringing it round to rest wherever is comfortable. It might just be at the knee area. You might be able to bring it further up towards the hip flexor, keeping the toes nice and flexed, and then see how far you can maybe drop this knee down. Don't worry if one side isn't as good as the other. Just take note of which side feels a little better and which one needs a little bit more work on it. We're just going to hold it here. And feel free to hold onto the foot softly if you feel like you need to. Maybe hands by the side, maybe just resting them together, wherever feels comfortable. Make sure the back's up nice and straight. Not elbows, your shoulders are down and away. We're just breathing nice and deeply. Okay, and then we're just going to very carefully, nice and slowly, just lift that off and then straighten the knee. Might give the leg a little bit of a shake just to get some feeling back in. And then just cross the legs over and we'll just close out the practice today. So wherever you feel comfortable in a cross-legged position, maybe legs out straight if that's what you prefer today. Sitting up nice and tall, either softening the gaze or closing the eyes completely. And just breathe in nice and deep. And exhale. So we're going to take 2 breaths here. We're going to try and make them the fullest breaths we've taken all day. So what I'm going to do is take a nice big inhale and exhale, and then I'll tell us when to inhale, and then we'll exhale it all out through the mouth. So inhaling in, really fill up the tank until you can't fit any more air in. Keep going, and then hold it at the top, and exhale through the mouth. Nice and explosively, try and really vacuum out your insides, really taking it all in one sudden out push. Then inhale one more time. Keep going. And fill this breath you've taken all day. And one last time out through the mouth. And just revert to normal breathing. If your eyes are closed or softened, feel free to flutter the eyelids to let the light back in. And that's the end of the session. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste. I hope you have a great day ahead. Thank you.